Hello, and welcome to this presentation on Tableau data management, or what we like to call self-service data management. My name is Brian Medeiros, and I'm one of the senior solution engineers at Tableau. I've been with Tableau a little over 5 years, where I've been just very excited and privileged to be working with our enterprise customers down in the Southwest region, or specifically Southern California, helping them see and understand their data, as well as being able to maximize the Tableau platform. I've been in BI and IT for 20 plus years. The first half of that, I started my career as a developer, worked with databases, project management, and then I transitioned to more of the solution engineering side, where I spent half of that time with a legacy BI product, and I couldn't be happier that been able to spend the last 5 years with Tableau. I put a face to the voice here in case you ever see me at Tableau conference, or sometimes I present at marketing events. If you see me, come by and say hi. So we have a real simple agenda today. We're going to do a quick overview of Tableau data management and how does that data management, what does that mean in the Tableau ecosystem? We're going to demo both the two components of Tableau data management as it is today. And hopefully that gets you excited about the possibilities of wanting to leverage data management and how you might want to try it. We'll get you some information about that, as well as some available resources that you can leverage. So as it stands today within the platform, we have self-service analytics, right? We always strive to give analytics for everywhere, anywhere, and with any data. And self-service analytics is something we've done from day one. It's a core part of our product. Over the last couple of years, we've started to incorporate more AI. So we have now smart recommendations, not only in our prep tool, but also within the server for content and data sources, both in server and desktop. But what we're really going to focus on today is self-service data management. So why Tableau users want data management? Why do we need data management within the product? Today, I mean, if you want to leverage all the capabilities like Viz's, building visualizations or dashboards in Tableau, um, or maybe using Ask Data. Ask Data is our natural language processing against our data sources. So you can go in a data source and start to ask questions, type in, what are my sales by customer in California? So I could type that and I will get a result set that's visualized to best practice, and I can continue to ask questions, as well as if you want to leverage explain data, leverages statistical algorithms to give you additional insights or augment your analysis. So if you get to a point where you're maybe looking at profitability, why we're not profitable in a certain area, I can click on a mark, say, please explain this data. It's going to introspect the data source you're looking at and give you some additional potential possibilities of why we're maybe not profitable. Maybe it shows certain sales reps that are giving too large of discounts, or other variables there. And so you really need um, something beyond not only the tools itself, like the Tableau tools that we have available to you today, but you also need to be able to find the data. In some instances, you might need to be able to, you have to prepare the data, right? You might have to combine it with other data, clean it, prepare it. You have to have a platform to trust and govern it, right? And centralize, especially, even more important for those data stewards and administrators to be able to easily manage that stuff, as well as the end user being able to go and find it and know that they can make smart business decisions against it. And then from that, you'd also need to be able to alter the data, or maybe even the data structures, and make sure you can communicate what's going on in the environment so that everybody knows. So there's really two trends that we see in the industry around data management. There's a lot of change going on the data side, as well as change in people and how they interact with data. And from the data side, it's nothing new that the data explosion is huge out there, right? Like, the numbers are astronomical that you see reported about how much data keeps coming in, and it's even more so for some companies than others. But that's nothing new. But it's also becoming a lot more diverse. So, what that means is, the days of being able to try and centralize all this data into a data warehouse and bring it all in, for one, it just, based off my experience, takes a lot of time, right? Year to years to really get that data in. And a lot of times you just can't wait for it. And that's why Tableau has been so successful, because we've allowed users that understand the data to tap into the data wherever it may be, right? So beyond enterprise data, there's departmental data, there's team data, there's personal data, and a lot of the traditional data management offerings out there really focus on that enterprise. And then, because of this data explosion, it's really broke the mold of being able to centralize, and there's a need to connect, to a vast array of different types of data sources and data types. And then there's this change in people, right? So analytics is really expected across the organization. Data is such a key component to drive better business outcomes at every level within an organization, and people are so used to working with data and asking questions about and getting information. And so just more and more people within the organization at different levels are using the data, and they need good tools to do their job. And that's where we feel that with a lot of the tools that we have today, with Tableau Prep and Tableau Desktop and Server, incorporating data management is just going to make it even easier. So, traditionally, a lot of the tools that were out there in the past, or even some of the ones that are existing, were really designed for IT. So a lot of the ETL type processing tools, a lot of the data management tools, and because it was so centralized in IT, there's been this mistrust of data, or it takes so long to get the data out there to be able to trust it. There's been duplication of data, or maybe IT just locks it down. And now with the idea of giving people self-service analytics or self-service data management, we're always striving to bring synergy both between IT and the business, because the business really understands the data, them working together in lockstep to be able to trust the data, and take away a lot of these challenges. And again, that's such a key component of the for this to really all work, and also along with the tools to be able to get better visibility into the information, and be able to centralize and trust it. So we are creating a convergence, and we see a lot of point solutions out there in the market where there's a data catalog component, right? And a lot of these are really great, and they do a really good job, because that's what they're focused on. And it shows data lineage and discovery and certification, and then there's data preparation to be able to clean, combine, and reshape data. There's master data management. There's an analytics, that might be a separate tool. There's discovery and access tools out there. And what we are really striving to do is, giving a platform for all people to leverage what we have, you know, all centralized within Tableau Server, so that we centralize data and the metadata. We can even certify the information. We can share it across the organization, and even more important, like manage it to compliance. So, a lot of times when you're trying to fit into compliance regulations, one of the biggest things is just having visibility into the information that's out there. And so, what data management in the Tableau platform, it's going to allow for that visibility and just really be able to supercharge your analytics. So we felt we needed a fresh approach to data management, one that meets the demands of data hungry people at all levels, right? And not all departments, and also fit the demands of IT and the regulators. So we really need to help people govern, discover, trust, and operationalize their data pipelines. And we do this through, one, being able to prepare their data. So we introduced Tableau Prep Builder almost a couple years ago to be able to prep the data. And then now that we have this preparation of the data and these workflows, we need to be able to operationalize those. And so, the first part of the battle is that preparation or getting the data in the right shape. But to keep it fresh and up to date, we need to make sure you can schedule it. Going back to the preparation of data, there's tons of studies out there that show that people spend about 80% doing prep and about 20% doing analysis, which is really staggering, right? Because where you want people to spend the most time is on the analysis. So if we can, flip that script or shift that percentage, then it's going to be so much more valuable to an organization to be able to do the analysis to make better business decisions and better business outcomes. So again, from an operational standpoint, Prep Conductor is what is part of the data management add-on. It's on server. It allows us to schedule these prep flows that were built in Prep Builder, and monitor it and make sure it's not broken. And then catalog. And this is where you can discover data sets, determine if you can trust the data, and govern the data through things like lineage and impact analysis. So here's a breakdown, a little bit more details about each one of the products. Again, Tableau Prep Builder is something that comes with a creator license, which is the desktop prep and server license. This isn't part of the data management add-on, but it's a very important component of it. The intent of this was to really make a product that was very desktop-like, very visual and direct. We want our customers that don't necessarily work with ETL or don't know how to know about ETL, but maybe work with manipulating data in Excel to be able to feel comfortable with using a tool like Prep and make it easier for them and faster to get them to their analysis. So we wanted to make sure that they could see the data, and if they see a problem, you can change it. You can select a value and filter, select your data and edit, select drop down, select and drop columns, combine data, aggregate data, and want wanted people to be able to see the data as you're making those changes so that the problem can be identified and fixed easily. We also started to incorporate some smarts. So there's some smart recommendations in there of how you can fuzzy group certain things, what data types you should be using, cleaning and shaping recommendations, as well as some performance specific things where we're able to handle, like in some of the traditional ETL tools, if you put a filter in the wrong place, you may need to know where to move it or put it, and it could really mess things up. And what we're focused on, just, hey, if I just want to keep something or filter something, we'll handle the SQL, sometimes pushing it down to the database for performance. And then it's integrated with Tableau. So if you're used to using Tableau Desktop or web authoring, and you know how to write calculations, or publishing or previewing, everything should be very familiar and very similar and easier to use within Prep. And then we also have some extensibility with Python and R. And also the integration with Tableau Server as well, which will be the Conductor component that we'll talk about right now. So Tableau Prep Conductor allows us to publish and schedule our flows, right? It also allows us to visibly be able to see our data pipelines. We put those, it leverages all the same type of permissions and security and project organization and everything that is in Tableau Server today. We can look at run histories and audit it, and set up some alerts to alert when things fail. And again, it's just, it's completely integrated into Tableau Server. And then, so that was the first component of data management. The second component of data management is Tableau Catalog. And this is really giving not only the data stewards and IT or administrators, or DBAs for that matter, the ability to understand all the data that's been brought into Tableau, but also the end user as well, so that the end user can search and be able to trust it. And so it gives you this nice complete view of all the data in the environment, and then you can easily see lineage and impact analysis of the data. Again, we try to simplify the discovery of the data, for the end user, not only when they're in server, but also when they're in desktop, and we'll see this shortly. And then allow to get, find the data source you want to, so that you can search the data quick and get your analysis. And again, this is all also completely integrated with Tableau Server. And all you have to do with the data management once you get it is enable a key. You do have to do some quick configuration change from a command line, but it all just starts to work. There's no additional setup or process that you have to go through. All right, time to see it in action. So what we're looking at here is Tableau Prep Builder. So I think it's important to, if you haven't seen Prep Builder before, to just walk through a little bit of what we're doing here. And what we're doing here is connecting and unioning different regional order files here. And then with like the South, I'm actually unioning several files into the South. And then these are individual fields here, or individual files here that we're unioning together. We're also doing some cleaning steps here as well. If we look at this, we can see little icons on top of here. We're doing some filtering. We're doing some changing of data types. We're doing some grouping and replacing. This in particular, I think this is, I'll show this real quick what we're doing here. If we look at particular states and some of the grouping that we've done here, we had to clean this because we have states that say Arizona and some have abbreviations. We can do this through our smart grouping here. So this is some of the intelligence I talked about. So this group and replace, we can do things by manual selection. We could do it by pronunciation, common characters, spelling, or we can simply do it manually. And then we even get some recommendations here about possibly changing the role of this state to a state province. Why do that? Because it's going to unlock the power to be able to do mapping of state information very easily in Tableau, so that when we recognize it as a state, it's going to be able to be geocoded out of the box, and there's nothing additional we need to do. So once we're doing all these different cleaning steps, and then now we're unioning all these files, we're also then joining our, if we go downstream here, all of our return data to our orders. And then we are doing some additional cleaning, and then we're branching off. We're creating a data source, a data extract for our orders and returns here, right here. And then we're taking this same flow and we're creating a sales versus quota file. So we have two separate outputs here. And I can simply run this flow within Tableau's prep builder here and push these data sources. If we look at these data sources, I didn't necessarily want to run it. I just want to see it. We're publishing these data sources, each one of these, up to Tableau Server into a project, this particular sandbox, and we're giving it a name, right? So very similar to what you would do when you publish up content or data sources out of Tableau desktop. And so I can simply run this, and if I just had Prep Builder, I can keep running this manually, daily to push and update those data sources. But what we want to do is we want to be able to productionalize and centralize and operationalize this prep flow, right? So that we can schedule it, put it on a schedule, so we don't have to worry about it. We have visibility into errors. People that are adminning the server have visibility into it. We can get notifications, and it could all be part of the lineage within a catalog as well. So what we ultimately want to do is publish this up to Tableau Server. So I'm going to click on Server up at the top here and publish the flow. This again should look very similar to, give me 1 second here. Oh, yep, we're in the right server. Just wanted to make sure. And we're going to put it in the sales sandbox. And I'm going to give it a specific name here. And let's publish it. And in a second here, it's going to launch inside of Tableau Server. And now we can walk through what we have available on server. So again, we're on Tableau Server. We pushed it up there. One of the things we can do, and I already have a particular description in here, is we can, it's always nice to put some information here. So this talks about, combining and cleaning our regional sales and what our outputs are. So we have output 1 is our regional performance, and the second one is our quota. You could also put tags on here as well. So I can add specific tags so it makes it easier to search. If we look up here under our ellipses here, we have all the same type of things you would see maybe under some other menus around content and publishing. We have permissions in the same way with different functionality that we have in any other content on Tableau Server. Again, so it's fully integrated. We can see revision histories. We can download and share. We can move it. So right now it's in a sales sandbox. So once this has been vetted out, that's something we really want to productionalize. So, maybe I'm just a developer that's developing this or an analyst that's developing this. Eventually you want to move and promote this into a production flow project. And so we can do that directly from here. There's also this quality warning, and this really ties into the catalog, which we'll see here shortly. And right from this page, again, we can visually see the prep flow here. We can also run each one of these outputs individually, or we can run them all. I'm going to go ahead and run these because I want to show that as soon as you publish up and you run this, the information around the catalog and lineage gets fed into this automatically. So again, nothing additional you need to do. So this is running. I could also create a schedule. These schedules are the same you would see for extract schedules or subscription schedules. So these are created by the admin of the server. So if there's not a schedule in the list that you want, so you wanted something maybe at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday, you just need to get your admin of the server to create those. And so I could set a schedule for all outputs or just single outputs and just simply create this task. So we'll just create one maybe for 2 a.m., create the task. And so now I've scheduled this. We can see this has succeeded. We can traverse along these tabs and see what files we're connected to. So we can see these are all the input files, these 6 files. So we had 4 regional files, 1 quota file, and 1 return file, and then our 2 output files here as well. We can see our scheduled task here that we just scheduled. We can always create new tasks from this as well. In typical Tableau fashion, there's always many ways we can do things. I can also see the run history, so I can see if it succeeded or failed here, how many rows were generated for each one of these. And then ultimately, as I mentioned, is we can also see the lineage. So for each one of our output steps here, so this one is our annual region performance, I could see that we are using a flow here. If you look to the right-hand side, actually, before we go there, here's all the fields that we're using. And then we can see that this uses 6 tables, right? Which is basically the 6 Excel spreadsheets, which are considered tables in this instance, as well as 6 databases, which 6 spreadsheets. And then we're creating 2 data sources. These mean Tableau data sources, right? So our annual performance, and our superstore sales. And then even more importantly, who owns this? So we could always reach out to that person if we needed to ask any questions. And this really ties into the whole catalog. So for those that might be administrators on the server and have to create the schedules, I'll show this real quick. So if I go into schedules here on the left-hand side, and again, this may look a little different if you're on an older version of Tableau server. This is the newer layout where we have all the navigation on the left-hand side. So this is, I encourage you to upgrade, and you'll get a lot of, what you'll have to do in order to be able to leverage the data management add-on. These schedules, if I come in here and say new schedule, I can create a schedule. And so we've added a new option to create a flow schedule, right? So it's going to be very specific to a flow. It leverages all the same parameters, but you have, not only extract refresh, but subscription available to you now as well. Okay, so we saw a little glimpse into catalog with some of the lineage that existed in Tableau Conductor. And so now I'm going to take on the role of two different people. The first role I'm going to take on is Sammy. So Sammy is a data steward or data curator, and I work and I'll take the role on as Sammy. I work a lot with the DBAs or the database administrators and kind of understand some of the data, and I'm a data steward. And what I have recently had a conversation with them, and so I curate a lot of the data sources for creators, explorers, and viewers. And recently we had a conversation with the data DBAs that we're going to change a field. The region is going to be realigned, and we're going to create a new field within our order dimension table. And this is something we've used pretty extensively. We're in the process of transitioning data sources for a lot of our reporting into Snowflake. And so as we're making that transition, our internal folks are using the catalog and the way to communicate in these, what we'll see in a minute, these data quality warnings to inform people across the organization that, hey, you need to change your source from what used to be was SQL Server now to use these connection data sources that are coming from Snowflake. And so when I log in into my Tableau server, I have this area called external assets. And when I click into here, I can see external assets for database and files, or I could even go directly to tables themselves. So I'm going to start with database and files. I can sort any of this stuff and start to look at, how many workbooks are against each one of these external assets, what data sources. So one of the great things with this view is, if I'm constantly seeing stuff where there's no workbooks, there's no data sources against this, you know, it gives me an opportunity to clean this stuff out, right? Maybe we don't need these connections out there, and so we can probably get rid of them. We can also see, if I zoom in on this, these green check marks here, right, indicating that these are certified data sources. So I know that these are ones that are been production blessed. These are the ones that people should be using to make their business decisions on. And it's also something with the end user when they're looking to analyze stuff in a data source or build some content, they should be using those as well. I can also see the contact on this for this particular external asset on the right hand side. So if I ever wanted to email this person or see what they own, or contact them, I can click in there and do so as well. But I know I'm going to be working in this particular asset, the Superstore world. So let's drill into that. And so as we traverse through here, now I can see all the tables that make up this data source, right? So I can see my order fact and my order dimension. On the right-hand side, I can see that, we're using there's 8 tables total. There's one flow. There's 8 Tableau data sources, 55 workbooks, 280 sheets, and 31 owners. And so what I could do is I could even go, drill into these further. Maybe go into my order dimension. I could see that all the different fields within or columns within here. I can also see again, where I'm at in the lineage, how many data sources and workbooks, and if I was to click on like region, so region is the one we want to change, we can see the impact analysis, the impact we're going to make on everybody, right? So what I can do is you can see this little bar chart on the right-hand side. So it's only one database, so it's regions in that one database. It's in 2 flows. It's in all 8 data sources. It's only in a subset of the workbooks, 40 of 48. It's in all of these sheets. And so what we were going to do here, and it looks like there's already a data quality warning on here as well. But I'll just go ahead and edit this or alter this, because what I want to do is I want to put a warning that says, hey, yeah, well, if I was going through this the first time, this is going to be deprecated. So this table is undergoing maintenance after hours, after the weekend of 2/15. So that's tomorrow or this weekend. We're going to change the region to this new region new field. Okay. So I'm going to enable this. And so now we can see this data quality warning, and we can see it at all levels, right? So I go up to the, I'm sorry, let me go down here. If I go across any of these things, so I go down to the workbooks, I go down the sheets, you can see that this deprecation carries through the entire flow, which is very nice, so that we can see it at all levels here. And so let me go back here. And then the second part of what I want to do, so I've set up this data quality warning, and let me actually, there's other warnings we can do as well, and I didn't touch on that. We can do just warning ones, we can do deprecation, we can do stale data. So if the data, our systems are down or something, we can indicate that there's stale data in this particular data source, or there's just something under maintenance here. And then what I can also do is notify the owner. So I can click on this owner. So I know that this is being used across here. So I want to send these people emails. And I can see that how many people own workbooks and own data sources in this under this lineage. And I can select them all, right, and send a quick email. In this instance, I don't want to send everybody an email because we're just doing a demo, but I can send myself an email, right, and just say, hey, these upcoming changes, put a subject in there, and just give some kind of indication that we're making these changes to this field and send it, right? So ideally, we'd want to send it to everybody so that everybody's aware that this is going to be, there's going to be some kind of impact. Okay. So that is a lot from like a data steward or an administrator on how they might benefit and use the catalog. But what also is other folks can benefit from it is the end user. So let's log in as Dora, who is an analyst and is responsible for this particular dashboard where they review last week's performance. And let's go in, let's search for this. I thought I had it favorited, but I don't. So I can come in and search for my last week's performance dashboard. So maybe this is something that I look at all the time. I'm going to actually favorite it. And I know when I come in here, I have now this data details button here up at the top. And I can click on there and it gives me a lot of great information. So it gives me who's the author of this workbook in case I want to, or this dashboard in case I want to reach out to them. And I could do that directly from within here. I can click on that and reach out. Or, and I can also see when the last time it's been modified. I can see the data quality warnings. So, in fact, there's been a few changes here that and things that are going on that I might want to be aware of. But in particular, we're going to focus in on this new region field that we want to change. And we can even see all the fields in use here that might be valuable information as well. And so what I can do here is I can, if I have web authoring capabilities, right? So basically desktop and the web, I can simply come in here and go into, let me go back to the dashboard here and go to this particular instance. And we can see we're using this old region field. But now in this data source, we have this new region field. So what I can simply do is just come and drop this on top, and you can see, and I'll go back, that our territory alignment changed. So this is great. So that other one's been deprecated. I brought in the new field. I can simply, save this as, last week's performance, new region. Save that out, and now have fixed that. And then the data stewards, once that change has been out there for a while, they will certainly go in and remove those warnings, or any of those data quality warnings, so that they won't be it won't apply to these anymore. The other powerful thing about having catalog in place is, one of the things we talked about was to be able to searching of assets. So not only can we used to just be able to search by data source names, right? And you may not know the data source name, but maybe you're interested in doing some analysis on orders. And now you can see within the search criteria, we have views, we have data sources themselves, we also have flows, and then we also have tables. So I can, if I know I'm going to do something on the order fact table, I could simply just come in and search directly on the order fact table and go directly to it. If I wanted to start um, a new workbook in this instance, and I have to see if I have rights to do so. See, I should. So if I wanted to connect to some data out there, I can certainly come in here and search it, within here, and get different objects in here, and search by tables as well. And you can also do this within Tableau Desktop. So in Tableau Desktop, if I was to connect a server, the Tableau server, I want to specify that. If I wanted to search for data sources, not only can I search for the data source names themselves, but I have this option now to search by table. So I could just simply select table, and I could see, again, here's my order fact table. So I don't need to know where this data source is coming from, or where this table's coming from. I can just click on it, and I know, and I can also see the data quality warnings directly from within desktop as well. So it's all this information is fully integrated. So I think it's, which is super important, because again, a lot of times you need to be informed of what's going on. You need to understand and be able to trust the data. You need to know that you're looking at trusted data sources. You need to know if things are changing. So with that, that concludes the demo portion of this presentation. So let's talk about, hopefully you saw some things that are interesting to you. If your organization is not currently evaluating the Tableau data management add-on, I would talk to your folks internally, as well as connect with your account team, your Tableau account team, to inquire if you would like to do a trial of the data management add-on, or maybe even for some of you, it's being trialed internally already. And then there's also several resources you can take advantage of in true Tableau fashion. You can just Google Tableau data management, and you'll get a ton of results. But there's a launch page here for both Prep Conductor and Catalog, that has launch links to some white papers, some case studies, and customer stories. Again, as long as well as several white papers. We also have this particular white paper that could be very valuable in understanding more about data management. We have our Tableau Online Help to help you get started. And this has, all this more specific features around permissions, how to set up the data quality warnings and certifications. Certifications is something that's been out there for a while prior to the catalog. So that's something you could, depending on the version, you can do today. Conductor, how to schedule flows, manage flows, and monitor the health and performance. And then we even have a metadata API. So the idea is that you can leverage this, as well as GraphQL, to query and ask for and return the data that you're interested out of the catalog, as well as be able to integrate one of the big questions we get is, hey, we have a data dictionary or a data catalog that's sitting out somewhere else. How do we get that information into Tableau? You can do that through the APIs. And so with that, I'll make sure I have this in the recording. These are some of the links that are available to you if you just search Google. And hopefully you got excited about some of the new capabilities within data management and see where it could really add value with getting trusted data, right? Being able to search data, get trusted data, and really take your analysis to the next level. I want to thank you for your time. And if there's any questions, please reach out to your account team. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.